Chasing the best deals online? Let NordVPN protect you as you browse the internet. Go to nordvpn.com for a special deal. Install the app, connect, and enjoy secure and private browsing. Online security starts with a click.
Welcome back to the Football Terrace. This is the Full Fan Highlight Show. Arsenal 4, Wigan 0. An emphatic 16 minutes in the first half gave Arsenal an imperious lead over the League One outfit after much rotation to the Arsenal team and a response needed after the disappointment against Brentford. That was certainly delivered. Eze with some assists, Noni Madueke scoring again, Gabriel Jesus with a wonderful strike, and Martinelli on the score sheet. The quad hopes remain alive for Arsenal. The FA Cup dream stays alive after going through to the fifth round. And look, it was fairly routine. It was more than expected. And actually, it was very, very, very professional in the end in the way in which Arsenal saw that game through late on, the way in which Arsenal just managed the minutes. No, not too much intensity in the game. It made it a little bit of a bore fest for non-Arsenal fans, I think, for the second half, because they didn't need to play with any intensity. Wigan weren't trying to score any goals. It became a little bit of a respectful clash of, all right, we're not going to go hell for leather as long as you guys don't try and get too much. It was almost like an unwritten rule in this game. It was, right, we won't smash you 8-9-0, but don't try and come back in the game. They just sort of sparred each other for the second half, which was a little disappointing. I'd have liked to have seen some more goals from a spectator point of view, but Arsenal today just went and got the job done. Arsenal today just went and delivered. Arsenal today just went out there and said, we're gonna get the victory. We're gonna go through. And they battered them, really. And look, it is to be expected, there's no doubt. But I don't play the game because it's become a game that's killing football. It's just X, it's just Y, it's just XZ. We've seen that before. We've seen it again. We've seen League Two teams beat top sides this year. We have seen non-league teams knock out the holders this year. We saw Salford yesterday, a League Two team, give City a really good game. So you do need to be on point. You do need to have your whereabouts about you when playing these games. But of course, Arsenal, far too strong, far too clinical, far too good for that of Wigan Athletic today. As are Arsenal scary, Terry? To Wigan today, they definitely were. In those 16 and a half minutes where they scored 4 goals, they certainly were scary in that period. Arsenal played their 41st game of the season today. Yeah, crazy numbers. The amount of games. I mean, I would assume, because they're into the final now, I assume that this weekend, Chelsea, City, Newcastle, and Arsenal have all played their 41st games because they're all in the Champions League. They're all... I can't think of anyone who could have played more than them. But yeah, they must all have played their 41st games of the season. Crazy numbers when you actually break that down. People saying strong team. It was the second team with some players getting minutes for fitness. Look, you've got to ignore the basic people that are going to banter you. You've got to ignore them because Arsenal were emphatic. Arsenal demolished Wigan very quickly, very easily, very plainly, with almost no trouble whatsoever. In fact, zero trouble whatsoever. There's always going to be banter from rivals. There's always going to be that sort of element of it's just Wigan. This is the jokes you're going to see. It's Wigan. Your players have found their level. Eze's found his level. Martinelli's found his level. Madueke's found his level. You kind of know what's coming. It's so predictable. We know what's going to be said before it's been said. Football fans everywhere. It doesn't matter if you're an Arsenal fan, United fan like me. We all collectively know what is going to be said. But indeed, you are right. To look at Arsenal today and go, what was it good? Was it bad? Well, look, 8 changes from the first 11. Only Saka. For me, I'd only really look at Saka and Saliba as outright starters. So actually, that's 9 outfield changes to the team. Martinelli, He's first. If you look at the players who are like first team players that play almost every game, Martinelli fits into that. Madueke fits into that. Ben White kind of goes into that category. But the rest of them are very much their squad players. But what today demonstrates is the strength of Arsenal's squad. And rivals won't like to hear this, but I've seen a few little slip-ups from rivals recently that despise Arsenal when they say things like, oh, when you played us, we had injuries. And Arsenal fans go, well, we had 4 or 5 injuries too. Yeah, but you can still play a really strong and balanced team. We can't. But I thought you were arguing your squad was as good as ours or near to ours or close to ours. You see how people slip up in real time because they know there's a difference. A lot of people will look at Arsenal's lineup today and go, oh, that's ridiculous. They're playing one of their strongest teams against a League One side. But it isn't one of their strongest teams. Because I think if it was their strongest side, the goalkeeper changes, Ben White changes, Mosquera changes, Miles Lewis-Skelly changes. Norgard and Eze come out the team. Madueke comes out the team. Martinelli comes out the team. Jesus comes out the team. 9 of these players probably wouldn't start if the whole squad was fit and available at Arsenal, which demonstrates how good their squad is. Not because they beat Wigan 4-0. Again, that's really basic. That's scratching the surface level analysis. You realize how strong their squad is, that rivals are looking at this and going, fucking hell. Why couldn't they have played a weaker team? Because you will do it. Whenever I watch a rival of mine play, I look at what team they in the FA Cup and League Cup when they're against teams that are not as good as them. You look at it and go, right, who they picked? Okay, there might be half a chance here, bit of rotation. Then you look at the bench to go, are the big boys on the bench to change the game if need be? With Arsenal today, I looked at the starting 11, and my first thought was, I've gone really strong. And then you start to analyze it a little bit, engage your brain a little bit, and you realize it's 9 first-team players. Oh, yes, of course, some of these squad players, like Eze, were expensive. Like Madueke were expensive. I'm not denying that. And I know the Arsenal fans wouldn't deny that. But it shows the strength in depth. I think that's first and foremost the important element here from an Arsenal point of view and an Arsenal perspective. Now, on top of that, I want to speak about a few of their players today because Eze's been under an immense amount of pressure. Some people defending him and saying that it's Arteta's style of football, Arteta keeping him on the bench. Arteta is the reason that Eze hasn't thrived and flourished yet at Arsenal. Others feel he's an absolute flop. He should be written off. He should be given no time. Now, of course, no one is going to look at a performance against Wigan and go, superstar. Superstar should start all the remaining games. He's made it amazing, brilliant. But he was very good today. If we could just have an honest conversation in real time, he was great today. The vision and the weight of pass for the opening assist, for the opening goal for Noni Madueke was absolutely brilliant. He takes out an entire team with one pass. The weight of it was excellent because there was enough on it to beat the defenders and to allow Noni Madueke to hit it first time, but it wasn't too much where the goalkeeper can come out and claim the ball or close that space. The second touch, turn and pass, I felt was even better, a little bit closer. He would be impressed. Great first touch, moves the ball onto his outside and plays it into Martinelli, who himself finished very, very well indeed. And I thought overall today, the only thing that would have capped the day off nicely for Eze would have been to have put the ball in the back of the net himself, and Tickle making a couple of very good saves and Wigan making some really big blocks late in the game to deny Eze. But I thought overall for his confidence today will do him the world of good. It really will. Noni Madueke, again, a signing that I think some people have gone too far by saying that he's been transformative this year. But I certainly think he's starting to prove to be value for money. Yes, £50 million is a lot. But then you start to actually deep transfers. The best wingers in the world would be sold for 120, 130, 140, 150. He's being sold for 50%, 60, he's being sold for 2 to 3 times lower that amount. He is a squad player. And we're getting to a realm now where your 35 to 50 millions are buying you squad players. It's as simple as that. But I think he picked up his 7th goal of the season. I could be slightly wrong, but I'm partly guessing. I didn't go and check. I think that's his 7th goal of the season today. Very well taken. Some excellent work with Bukayo Saka on the right-hand side as well. Martinelli and Gabriel Jesus, look, they know they're on the periphery. I think they both know that they're two of the first names that may be sold come the summer. But what I love about watching them play for Arsenal this season is that they're not letting that bother them. They're going out there, they're giving their best every game. Martinelli just seems to be a very different player in these cup competitions, namely the Champions League, but the FA Cup this season, he's also popped up, with a goal today. And I think for the season, this is one I was looking at, like only one goal in the Premier League this season, but he has 10 goals across cup competitions. He's on course to have his best season ever goal-wise for Arsenal, but the vast majority of that is not coming in the Premier League. But that's also important when you're trying to win multiple trophies. And as much as his Premier League record deserves some criticism, the fact that he's got 4 goals in 2 games in the FA Cup, none so far in the League Cup, to be fair, but 4 goals in 2 games in the FA Cup and 6 goals in the Champions League is not to be scoffed at. Because what he is doing, it's back to the squad again. It's why this Arsenal squad is so devastatingly good, is you may not have a player like Martinelli starting a lot of games and scoring lots of goals in the Prem, but what he is doing in the other competitions is keeping you in them, he's winning you games, he's keeping you alive, and I think that is very, very important. I was also impressed with Norgard today as well, and something that I saw, which I'd be intrigued to see if Arteta will try this. Now, I saw a few Gooners. That's a lie. I was told that a few Gooners were talking about, maybe we should see Saka more in the midfield. I'm not sure if he's ready to become a midfielder or an attacking midfielder yet, but there's certainly some Premier League games where I wouldn't mind seeing him go central with Norgard or a player of that ilk holding, with him and Noni Madueke on the right-hand side. I think they could do something interesting. It became harder when they went 4-0 down because they went to a back. I think they went to a back 4, Wigan. They made a sub. They went to a back 4, and then they became really compact, and it was hard to break down. But I really kind of liked the way they operated. But Norgard, I felt, just gave them, at this level anyway of opposition, just gave them the protection they needed to go out there and play and to do their thing. Defensively, I don't even want to be rude. It's hard to even praise them. There was almost nothing to do today. Kepa with 1 good save to make in the first half when it was already 4-0. Outside of that, it was maybe the easiest game that those 5 players collectively have had. But I think overall, Arsenal will be very, very happy with today. They've got a big week ahead of them. A huge game against Wolves on Wednesday, and then a massive game in the North London derby this time next week, essentially, where they will have the opportunity this week to go 7 points and maintain a 7-point gap over Manchester City in the Premier League. But they're in that final of the Carabao Cup. Been the best team so far in the Champions League, top of the Premier League, and as we know, have just won the 4th round of the FA Cup tie against Wigan. They go into the 5th round draw, and who knows what this season is going to entail. But as it stands right now, and I don't even know if Arsenal fans are talking about this, and it probably doesn't become a conversation until after the Carabao Cup final, but the quad is still on for Arsenal, and that's something they should be excited at least the mere prospect of. But as ever, look, I want your views. I'd love to get your opinions on this now in that comment section below. That would be amazing if you could. My people, make sure you're also liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel as well. That means a great deal. Thank you. Let me just sending a quick message. By the way, remember, we are sponsored today by NordVPN. So if you're not protecting yourself online, get that done right now. I think you're an absolute nutter if you're not protecting yourself online. I've got to be honest. Imagine, I don't want it to happen to any of you. Spend 5 minutes after this stream researching what happens when people's identities get stolen, bank account details get stolen, credit card details get stolen. Go and have a look what happens to you. And I know a lot of you guys, it's not even so much when you're at home, but that can happen. It's more when you're out and about and using public Wi-Fi. Protect your devices, protect your phone, protect yourself online right now. Scan that QR code or click on the link in our live chat. Get yourself signed up now. You will not regret using it. You truly, truly won't. Maradon here says, Terry is running out of words for Arsenal. I mean, not really. I just speak how I find, I get you're angry because you've seen Arsenal win. I mean, you're a grown man, Maradon. You told us you're 70 years old once. You said, I'm a 70-year-old man. And you write Arsenal. Arse anal is what you write. You are definitely We should probably ban you because you can't be over 18. I refuse to believe any adult speaks like this. Come on, Maradon. Come on. Terry, Liverpool beats Brighton yesterday. Arsenal beat League Two team. Stop going on. I praised Liverpool massively yesterday. I praised him massively. I praised Liverpool hugely yesterday for the way they played. What are we doing here? Equally, I'm just talking about Arsenal's strength in depth. And we've seen this season a number of top Premier League teams rotate slightly and go to League One and League Two teams across FA Cups and League Cups and get absolutely exposed. Most of the time winning, but looking very, very sketchy. But I didn't overpraise them. Do you know what I've found with a lot of people? They always go on about like, well, why is it that so many people are out here saying that everyone hates Arsenal? Because all I've done is said they were good today. And you're like, but Liverpool won, and you got loads of praise. You just didn't turn up to the match reaction. That's on you, you soppy sod. It's on you, you soppy. What? Listen, Gooners that are watching, why are rivals so pressed that you won today? It's really mad. I don't even get it. Their teams have won this weekend. They've all been praised on the shows that I did. Yeah, Arsenal win. Oh, why are you praising them? Very strange behavior. Very, very strange behavior. Are you okay, guys? Is it because the quad's still up? What is it? What is it that's hurting you so much? Honestly. You're probably right. You're probably right. Anton is joining me on the show now to come on and have his say. If you haven't done so yet, like, share, and subscribe, please, people. Let's get that done for the Football Terrace. That would be marvelous. Convinced Maradon has a man crush on Terry. Yeah, he's just... Do you know what it is? I've had this for about 5-6 years now on the Terrace. There are a percentage of people that watch it. What becomes like their lifelong ambition is to sort of catch me out on a footballing opinion. And I'm very, very honored by that. I'm very, very honored by that, if I'm being honest with you, that some people do that. And we've done it on a show before where we worked out that Maradon in the last like 7 years has spent about a year of his life watching the Football Terrace. When you add up the amount of streams he watches, the amount we do, a year of his life just hating me. And I can't thank him enough. I wish there was more of them. I wish there was more Maradons, if I'm being honest with you. But there we go. Brighton, Arsenal beat them in the Carabao Cup. Look, but this is what happens. As I was saying earlier, you'll get the it was Wigan. But then you get it's Wigan when you win well. If you struggle, you get, that's embarrassing. But if ahead of the game, you say we're going to win easy, it's Wigan, you get told to not be disrespectful and not to be arrogant. This is why I was saying to Egal the other day, don't apologize to people for getting predictions wrong, because they're going to make out you're wrong even when you're right. I get it every day when it comes to an Arsenal game. Do you still think Arsenal was scary? Completely deliberately misrepresenting what it is I said about Arsenal being scary. It was leaving my team in the mud at the time all those years ago. The biggest prediction, the only real big prediction I made about Arsenal back then has come true, but they hate that I was right and they won't admit it. All I ever said, go back and watch the video, is that they'll become title contenders. This is the crazy part about you praise Arsenal too much. The last three seasons at the beginning, I'm not even predicting them to win the league. But yet, you praise them too much. What it really is that they want the criticism of Arsenal to be so vile and over the top that it serves their purpose. And because I'm not going to do that, because it doesn't matter if Arsenal don't win the league this year, the criticism from me won't be as big as when they were finishing 8th in the league, because they're a better team than that. Doesn't make sense, right? Imagine, this is why sometimes some Arsenal fans get really angry with their team. I get like criticizing not winning. I'm like, how can you be angrier now than what you were when you were falling out the top 4, no chance in league title races? You can't. I don't see how you can be as angry, but that's just me. And I'm not going to change just because there's a few weirdos in the chat. So big up to the main people on the terrace. A lot of love and respect. They are all jealous of Arteta's hair. I'll be honest with you. I wish I had not Arteta's hair, but I wish I had the thickness of the back. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't have had to have an hair transplant. It'd have been nice, you know. But there we go. You are right. Haters are going to hate. And there's some fun elements for it. I enjoy it. I don't know about you guys. I enjoy watching it. I enjoy watching it and reading it. And no, I will never change. But again, Arsenal fans got to prepare themselves. If you actually genuinely become a bad team again, you will get criticised here. The one thing I won't do, though, is over-egg it. It's sort of, Arsenal have a bad couple of games, and it's like, I'm going to treat them like the end of the Wenger era, or the Unai Emery era, or the beginning of the Arteta space. So I can't do that, because it's crazy. It'd be crazy to. Wouldn't even make sense. What's crazy to you? What's crazy is you could tell by Arteta's face those are passes he doesn't want. He's tend to make. He'd rather just have them pass back and to the sides. I don't know. I mean, again, you are going to have to here, John, make me understand that, because when the cameras were cutting to Arteta with the goals, he looked very happy. So he didn't drag Eze off and say stop playing those passes. So I would need you to explain that, genuinely to explain that to me. You don't think Arteta was happy with Eze making those passes today? I mean, you can have that opinion, and I like and respect you, bro. You super chat a lot. You support the channel. But my challenge to you is, what evidence? I'll be honest with you, brother. I don't want to hear just an opinion I have. You're a smart guy. Your opinion has to be based on some level of evidence. Like, I feel like we're getting to a stage now with football analysis where we can't just say things because we think it in our heads. It has to be attached to something. What have you seen or heard that makes you think Arteta's angry at those passes from Eze today? I'd love to know. Thank you, Luke, for encouraging everyone to hit that like button for us, mate. It means a great deal. Thank you, bro. Appreciate that massively. Anton is here with me now. Anton, welcome back to the show, mate. Thank you for tuning in. 4-0 victors today. What do you make of it?
Firstly, I just want to give the people what they want. Arsenal, we're the worst team in all of football. It's only just Wigan. We're bottling it. We're not winning anything. You happy? All right, cool. Now to some truth. Yeah, I think it's exactly what we needed at the moment right now. By the way, first in the Premier League, first in the Champions League, final of the Carabao Cup, and now into the 5th round of the FA Cup. And quite comfortably. I think I kind of sat there for majority of the game knowing that we would be through to the 5th round. But this is exactly what Arsenal needed. I think what people is underrated is the fact that Arsenal have 3 straight games in the Premier League. For us people to come play a home game, get that confidence up, play some nice football in that short little spell, and then be able to go back and play Wolves back on the road in a few days' time, I think is going to be important for us to just, in the next 10 days or so. But yeah, Eze, absolutely amazing today. Like that ball that he played through for the opener just cut through Wigan completely. And then, he doubled his money not long after that. Were just amazing. I thought he was one of the 2 contenders for man of the match. The other one, I don't know if you mentioned him, Terry, was Christian Norgard. And Christian Norgard today did similar stuff to Eze, except it was his balls over the top that were killing Wigan as well. That Jesus one, the 4th one, was completely Norgard playing it over the entire Wigan's defense. We made it look easy, and we could have scored 10 today if we wanted to. We just kind of took the foot off the pedal, and because we got 2 big Premier League games coming up for Arsenal. So into the 5th round for the Gunners, pretty easy. Not much really else to say. It was just enjoyable to kind of just watch a game of football without feeling any of the pressure, to be honest, or feeling any level of anxiety whatsoever. So it was good.
No, listen, I agree. And I think that I was watching it and thinking, I'd like to see some more goals, maybe just from a spectacle. Didn't happen. You played in second gear. Maybe could have scored a couple of goals in the second half. There were some times where the ball could have come in earlier to Gyökeres. You did hit the post. There was some good blocks. But as you say, really important, I feel, that you get back to winning ways quickly, which is why it's good to be in lots of tournaments, because you can then lose a game or drop points in a game, and normally you get a chance within 2 to 3 days to respond. You have Wolverhampton Wanderers next. In terms of some of the performances today, what did you make of the role of Saka more centrally with Noni out to the right-hand side? Because Don was telling us in the group chat that people some of his friends were saying maybe that's where Saka should play more regularly. Is that something you would like to see Arteta experiment a little more with?
You know, it's so funny, Terry. I was texting my dad during the game, and he said, "Oh, Saka in the 10." I'm like, "Watch this. If Saka has any semblance of a good performance, people are gonna be like, oh, Saka should start in the 10 over Odegaard. Another player that should start over Odegaard." He kind of can almost just predict it already before he even kicks the ball. But yeah, he was really good today, but he's an excellent player. I still would prefer him to be playing out on the right-hand side, but given that we're losing options right now in the middle, it's not something I'd be against trying. But it wasn't like he was absolutely sensational, next level, playing in the 10. I thought what you saw was an Eze who was doing that today, which thank God for that. That's all I'll say.
I hear you on that one. And what of Miles Lewis-Skelly? Because he was meant to go into the midfield today, got moved back into a fullback role. It hasn't been the greatest of seasons from him. What did you make of his display today with another opportunity presented to him?
Yeah, look, I thought Miles Lewis-Skelly had some good moments. He also had some really bad moments. That yellow card that he picked up was completely unnecessary. I don't think that was going to be developing into any sort of a threatening attack. He just kind of just goes right through it. And that's something that he's had an issue with his entire career. But yeah, he got beaten for pace. But I think, was it Rafael Rodriguez, who, by the way, I seen him play when he was a kid here in Melbourne. So it's nice to see him play at the Emirates, which just from a personal note. But yeah, he even beat Miles Lewis-Skelly for pace. Like, Sarah, sometimes he struggles with it. Sometimes he looks great. Sometimes he plays some great balls over the top. He plays balls between the lines, but then also can struggle in other areas. So yeah, a bit of a mixed performance, I think, from MLS today.
That's very true. And I wanted to ask you finally about Noni Madueke. Not a signing that many Aguna wanted when you landed him, but another goal. He's picking up pace in terms of putting the ball in the back of the net now. I think that's 7 goals for you so far this season. Another solid performance from him. What did you make of him overall today?
Oh, I thought he was threatening the whole time that he was on today for Arsenal. I thought, Wigan couldn't handle him. I mean, I don't think Wigan can handle Gabriel Martinelli either. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. You can tell he's gaining confidence. That's back-to-back games with goals for Madueke. And, I reckon I could have scored what Eze put on a plate for me, though, because it was such a magnificent ball. But yeah, excellent.
I hear you, bro. Listen, Anton, always a pleasure to sit and speak a bit of football with you. We'll chat again soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Top man. Thanks, mate. Thank you very much indeed. I was saying just a moment ago to Jonathan, he says, even the announcer said, looking at Arteta, you wouldn't realize he just scored 2 goals. But I don't think that's an indication that he was angry with Eze for making the passes. A lot of managers do that, especially, it's interesting, right? So maybe you don't do this in reverse, but I feel like if Arteta was like really celebrating those goals against Wigan, it would be, look at him. He ain't elite. He's celebrating goals against Wigan. He should be cool, calm, and collected. That's how I thought he was doing. I thought he was just going, this is like business as usual. I didn't personally look at that and go, he's fuming at Eze for breaking lines with passes. I didn't think that. Maybe you did, and I respect that that's your opinion, but I will politely disagree with you. Brandon is on the show with me next. Brandon, a big 4-0 win today. Cruise control really in the second half. What did you make of your Arsenal team today, mate?
The quad's on, Tel. The quadruple is on. Yeah, no, to be fair, I've got to be honest, I was kind of in and out in the second half. The game was done within the first 33 minutes. Let's just be honest about it. It was finished 4-0. As soon as it goes 4-0, yeah, I'd have liked a few more goals, of course. Any Arsenal fan would have done, but really and truly, we don't need to overexert ourselves. It's done. It's finished. The tie's done. Move on to the next one. Just get a few minutes in some of the legs of some of the players that need it. And yeah, I think Arteta did that pretty well. With his substitutions and that. I think he tried to throw Gyökeres on to maybe gain a bit of confidence by scoring a few goals. That obviously didn't happen, but yeah, pretty easy day's work, Tel. I've been saying for a while, players that are on the fringes, step up. Yeah, because you may be relied upon. Somebody, please come in, give the manager a headache, to say, I should be starting the next game. I should be featuring in the first team. And I think 2 players did that for me today. Eberechi Eze, of course. And I think he will start the next game regardless anyway, because obviously Kai Havertz is out injured. Odegaard isn't fully fit. So I think he'll start anyway. And Christian Norgard, for me, has to start against Wolves. Every single time Norgaard's come into this Arsenal team, he has not let us down. I'm not saying his performances have been out of this world, but the best thing about Norgaard is he's kind of like El Neni in a way that he keeps everything so simple. And his positional sense is very, very good. And I think that is also, along with the fact that we was playing lower league opposition, they're not very good. But I think that also allowed Eze to have the freedom in the 10 today to be able to do what he needs to do. And I think Arteta really has to look at this and try and be a bit braver in the Premier League as well. Because obviously there's a sense of you have to do, a bit more defensive work in the Premier League, of course. But when you allow someone like Eze to just be in that pocket, not have to think about defending too much, and just think about threading them balls through for other players to get on the end of, that's when you see the best of Eberechi Eze. And we see the best of Eberechi Eze today. His assists were fantastic. His overall play was fantastic. Christian Norgard, overall play was fantastic. I think Noni Madueke took his goal well. A bit of end product. You want to see it from him. I think he was also helped out by the fact that you've got Ben White overlap him as well. So there's not too many players that can double up. And then I was a little surprised, to see Bukayo Saka start today. I know Calafiori got injured in the warm-up. It would have been easy for Mikel Arteta to go, cool, Calafiori's not playing. We're gonna keep Skelly in the midfield and we're just going to bring Hincapié in. It's almost like he tried to do something a little bit different. Obviously, again, the level of opposition allows him to do that. But to see Saka play a more central role but still be out on that right-hand side, and the link-up between him and Madueke was actually pretty decent. And it allowed Saka to have a bit more space and a bit more freedom. You haven't got so many players doubling up on him like you do on the right-hand side, vice versa for Madueke as well. And that created and opened up quite a lot of spaces for us. So, yeah, I just want to see how we go about things in our next Premier League game, because if we revert back to type and all of a sudden our number 10's doing all this defensive work and not being in the pocket and not playing them through balls through, and it's a contrast for me, so it's hard.
What I wanted to say though, and this is not a defense of that, the one thing I will say about Wigan today is they were actually braver in those opening 30 minutes than most Premier League teams are. They were playing with quite a high line. They played with 3 at the back, but their fullbacks are pushing up. And that's the one thing I would say about Arsenal this year. There's been a few teams that have gone at you and got results. Man United and Sunderland got a draw. Man United won, Sunderland got a draw. Brentford. I mean, people talk like the Brentford game was a defeat. You did draw the game. They didn't beat you. But they actually, as soon as they went a bit low block again, really low after the 4th goal, it was a bit harder for you to score those goals. But I suppose it's about in those moments when teams do open up. It's, as you say, maybe that's where I think you're right. When they're that high, it's right. There's a chance here. Try and kill the game. Try and get the goals now whilst the window of opportunity is there.
Yeah, and obviously we've got far superior quality to what Wigan have. But even in them moments when they're playing the low block, the difference that I saw today, and it's probably down to confidence from some players on the pitch, 1-touch, 2-touch football, far too often when we're trying to break down a low block, we're so slow, we're so lethargic with it, we take too many touches, we move the ball so slowly. And today, we didn't allow Wigan to really reset and get themselves back into position. We was pulling everybody out of position, left, right and centre, just by simply moving the ball really, really quickly. And that has to now transition into Premier League games. We've got Wolves next. I want to see how 10, or it'll probably be Eze, play with a bit more freedom like he did today. I'd like to see Norgard feature, because not only has he proven himself every time he stepped in, but Declan Rice and Zubimendi have played a lot of football for Arsenal this season. And you've got a player there in Norgard who is good enough to step in. It's just about whether the manager will trust him in these moments or not. And I'd like to see him trust him, because I do think Zubimendi and Declan Rice are gonna be huge for us for the remainder of the season as well. So they need a bit of a break. They need a bit of a rest to recuperate. And Wolves, you can afford to do that. You can afford to do that. So it was about them two players for me today. And on to the next round. Like I say, quadruple still on. Come on.
Well, the quad, people will laugh at it, but the quad is still on. Whether people like hearing it or not, it's there. And I feel one thing that gives you an outside chance of doing it, and what I'll love about my comment there is people will forget the word outside chance and just hear the word chance, is that although I agree there's no one in the Premier League who's being prolific for you, this season you've got a number of players, Martinelli being a standout, who are just brilliant in cup and international competitions. It's 10 goals now. And for instance, if Martinelli keeps scoring in the latter stages of both these comps, like he has done in the earlier round, there's a chance that you win. I mean, look, the league's the league. There's part of the league aside. In terms of the cups, he's just on fire in your cup competitions. And that must be you look at your squad, that for me is the deadly element of your squad, is that it is so deep that 9 players are rotated in today, and rivals are annoyed because they're going, oh, you're playing your first team. It isn't your first team. There's 9 changes. That must be a real positive element from your perspective as an Arsenal fan.
Yeah, of course. You look at that squad. I said it last week. That squad alone really should win us, a couple of competitions, really. Because you look at that squad, the depth that we have, the quality of players that are coming in and stepping in. I mean, you spoke about Martinelli. I didn't even realise, but that was Madueke's 8th goal for Arsenal this season in all comps. I didn't even know he'd scored that many. So, you're right. Players are stepping up in these competitions and scoring goals. It just has to continue. Obviously, we're going to face better opposition than Wigan, who are like bottom 3 of League One or something like that. But, the more this continues, the more confidence, the better it is for us. But of course, Wolves on Thursday is going to be extremely important, because, we need to extend that gap to 7 points with Man City.
Yeah, the Wolves game becomes the main focus now. It is absolutely huge. Can't wait to cover it on Wednesday. It'll be a big one for sure. Always a pleasure, Brandon, mate, and we'll chat again soon. Top man.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers, bro. Thank you. Viewers, please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. It's a cup game against Wigan, and people in the chat are hating on Arsenal. I don't need rivals to love our club, but this hate is unreal, Terry. Look, it exists for all top teams. And the telltale sign that Arsenal are on their way to potential brilliance in terms of trophies is the frustration other teams give you. And you'll see it in all walks of life. You'll see it. And some of you will remember this at school. Maybe you got an award. Maybe you got picked for a team. Maybe I remember a few people that I thought were friends of mine, always like supporting the martial arts things I did. And then I got a few big awards at school. And then my second dan, when my black belt was presented to me by, I didn't know that they set it up at school and it got presented in front of a school-wide assembly. I remember hearing a few what I thought were mates of mine do this whole, like, they call me a show-off, like show-off. And it's kind of a really childish thing, right? Adults use different words. But I remember thinking, I'm not even showing off. I'm shocked. Like, I'm just not that kind of person. And then they started falling out me over things and were just always annoyed with me. And you realize there was a jealousy thing that kicked in. This happens with adults. You can have, I've witnessed it for other people. I've experienced it myself. I'm the kind of person, if any friend of mine gets a promotion, I'm on the phone. Well done. Brilliant. Excellent. I've had people that have barely spoke to me after I got promotions and they didn't. Or I had 2 promotions before they got their first one and they took it out on me. People are like this in every walk of life. And you'll see it with Man United. We won 4 in a row. We're unbeaten in a few games. The knives are out. You see it with Arsenal now over the last 3 years. The knives are out. And we all do it. I'm guilty of it too when it comes to like football teams I dislike. But that was one of the premises of me starting the Football Terrace, was I was going to do my absolute best to not demonstrate that. And even though there's certain clubs I don't like due to my love of Man United, I'll always be fair with them. People often go, oh, you hate on, find me a Man United. Oh, you hate City. Find me a Man United fan who has praised as many City players and their manager as much as me. I guarantee you can't find one. Guarantee you can't. Doesn't mean I'll praise everything, because certain things need to be criticized. But Yeah, I'm just bored of it now. I think it's overdone. So I do agree with you. Judge Mo, sorry, I've already put that super chat up and that one. I re-put them all together. He's joining me on the show now to have his say. Welcome back, buddy. Hope you're well. And a big and important win for Arsenal to round off the FA Cup weekend.
It's a good win. Listen, I woke up. There's nothing to watch. So I watched the first half of the game. Brilliant pass by Eze, which is something that he's capable of doing, but he's not been doing it, to be honest, all season. He's not taking risks. And when he made that pass to Madueke, and I'm like, this is why I like Eze, because he makes these passes, because people make that run. Here is what I know that people are going, you're coming here. I'm not here criticizing Arsenal. I'm just saying some teams play similar to Wigan. They're like, they had the back, they got the back four next to each other. You see Madueke make that run. It doesn't happen often from Arsenal. And they need to do this more. They need to take risks. And Eze, by the way, making that pass, I remember, to be honest with you, Declan Rice had a similar pass to make to Eucharist in the Brentford game, and he didn't make it. He chose the simple one. He chose the pass to the side. Odegaard, the same. I like that some of the players express themselves. I see the likes of Shirky express themselves. However, by the way, there is a lot of managers that criticize people that express themselves. And I hear when people say that, Eze doesn't do this because Arteta doesn't allow him, and he allowed him this and that, this game. If Arsenal do this, we know that they have the ability to do that. We know that Eze has this pass in him. We know that Madueke can make that run. We know that Saka can dribble past players and get past players. They don't do it in the league. I know it's only Wigan. Yes, nobody said otherwise. But you at least attempt that in the league. And this is what my take on the game is, that he will give Arsenal confidence, as Chelsea will gain confidence from winning against Hull, as Liverpool will gain confidence from winning against Brighton. I don't think this is the game that, this is not the benchmark for Arsenal. But to be honest with you, I think that it will give Arsenal. I think Arsenal needed this game before they face Wolves. He definitely needed this game.
I agree. I agree. Look, I think it's important today because it gets you through to the next round. I didn't think they would lose today. Wigan are not in a great space as a club at the moment. They're not in a great space as a team. But if Arsenal would have maybe rotated even heavier and maybe didn't have anyone strong on the bench, and they got caught out and beat today, or they narrowly got through after a draw, the narrative, the media cycle, the panic from their fans ahead of that Wolves game would have been absolutely massive. What they didn't need is a massive giant killing, and those things are plausible, because I know that this was at the Emirates and it wasn't away, but no one thought United were getting beat by Grimsby. Nobody thought that the holders, Crystal Palace, were going to get knocked out by a non-league team. I didn't even think yesterday. I thought yesterday would be 4-5-6-0 to City over Salford, and it wasn't. It was 2-0, and Salford could have equalised 3, 4, 5 times in the game. The worst, you are so right, Mo, the worst thing for Arsenal would have been a scrappy game, a close game, because, as you say, the nerves build up more, the pressure builds up more, the media come out. And they don't need that. They need the win. And what's crazy is it's all going to go the opposite way if they beat Wolves. If they beat Wolves, they'll have a 7-point gap. Yes, that there's a game in hand for City, but they don't play that for 2 months.
Yeah, but remember, Newcastle won away at Villa.
Yeah.
Which gives them confidence before the... For some whatever reason, this weekend played in the hands of Arsenal at Chelsea. Chelsea, Pedro Neto hat-trick. Arsenal, Eze with a double assist. Martinelli is scoring. Madueke is scoring. I know City won against Salford, but Newcastle winning against Villa away. They're going to be galvanized. They are 3 points behind the top 6 or something. They're going to try to get something against City. For some whatever reason, this weekend, it looks like it is played in the hands of Arsenal. But I hear you. Arsenal needed to be comfortable, and they did their job. I don't know why people are hating. Why do... Well, I'm gonna say something before you comment. Okay,
yeah, go on.
Here is the difference, people, between what happened. Arsenal rotated 9 players, and people still say that they play the first team. That is a testament to the squad depth that everyone is talking about. That you can make 9 changes, and it still feels like it's your first team. It still feels like this is your first team that has played today.
Say hello.
So that is when people are, you played your first team today. No, because Gabriel didn't play, Calafiori didn't play, Timber didn't play, Odegaard didn't play, Rice didn't play, Zubamende didn't play, Trossard didn't play, Gyökeres didn't play, and Saka didn't play. It's 11 changes, 10 bar Saliba, you know what I mean? And then it feels like, Freya.
Do you know what's really funny? He said hello. They said hello. You both pop now, please. Close the door for me. Thank you.
So it feels like, oh my God, why Arsenal playing the first team? Yeah, they made 10 changes.
I agree. There was this part of me. Maybe it's as I've got older, I've learned to, when I'm jealous of something, I've learned to just go, well, I can't do nothing really to make Man United have a squad like that personally. But in my general view on jealousy is, I really like that. How can I implement that? And I actually learned that lesson many years ago listening to Kevin Hart. And Kevin Hart was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and I really wanted to watch it because I've never really heard Kevin Hart talk outside of telling jokes. And he was saying that he never sees something anybody else has that's brilliant and gets annoyed about it. He goes, I use it as inspiration. He said that I've come here today and looked at your setup for your podcast. I goes, I have like a radio station, and goes, I've looked at some of the equipment you've got, some of the things you do in the building. And he went, I'm jealous because we don't do it. He went, but when I go home, we're going to implement it. And I'm like, that it's such a nice lesson to listen to someone that's so successful and how he's taken other people's successes and gone, well, I'm going to do something similar. Or that's a better mic. That's a better mixer. That's a better way of doing the lighting. We've had that problem. I'm going to take that and I'm going to do it. And I sometimes look at that when it comes to other football teams. I'm not going to hate on you just because you've got something better than me right now. I'm going to put that energy into, come on, Man United, grow the team better, be a better team. Where I think some people, it's always, I'm going to take my frustrations out about how average my team is or how far behind my team is. But I'm not going to say my club's crap. What I'm going to do is project it towards the team that's doing well or the team that's successful. And that's, listen, each to their own. If that's what you do, be happy doing it. But it was a lot of changes today, and it showed that. Because I honestly, the question that I have for the viewers today, and I want to ask this question to the viewers. In fact, we're going to run a poll on this based on what Mo has just said. Let's just do this here, right? Let's just do this poll, and we're going to say, how many teams in the EPL could rotate 9 first-team players and still win this easily against the League One side, right? I think it's a fair question. That's a question. So amongst how many teams in the EPL I spelled could wrong, so let me do that again, could rotate 9 first-team players and still win this easily against the League One side? I'm going to write 0 to 1, 2 to 5. We'll do 6 to 12.
9 changes is a lot, you know.
Yeah,
I just noticed that. And then I just noticed this.
13 to 20. So 0. So we'll put that poll in because that's a genuine question here when it comes to
squad depth.
So yeah, just talking squad depth here. Just how many teams could make that many changes? And because I'll be honest with you, I think there's only 1, maybe 2 more other teams.
Maybe City now, adding Guehi and Semenyo can do that. Maybe City with Rodri back, with Nico Gonzalez, with Reinders. Yeah, I think it's only City actually. Man United can do it. I don't think Chelsea can do it. I don't think so. So for me, yeah, that's fair to Arsenal, to be honest with you, what they did like today. But it's League One team. You're like,
it is a League One team.
Why are you not happy? What is wrong with him?
Gunners a weird bunch at the minute. Why you all right, Egal? You happy, bro?
I didn't know I was on camera. I'm sorry.
I
was still changing my title for my last video. Honestly, that's a good confidence boost, guys. That's a good confidence boost. Yeah. It's a really good confidence boost. It's nice to see. And you know something? A game like Brentford, it almost gives everyone the green light to just say every negative thought they thought in their head and go super negative and super angry, and just, it was a weird space over the last couple of days, because I don't know if you guys seen it. We drew against Brentford, an in-form Brentford team who had only dropped 2 points, 1 point less than us in the last 10 games. And the conversation was more about how bad we are rather than how good Brentford was. And then you play a game like today, and it just puts you back in perspective. Like you guys said, 9 changes, and our team just goes and blows the team out like that in the first 30 minutes. fair play to the boys, fair play to Arsenal. We've made so many changes, but there's individuals I want to speak about. Martinelli in the cups is just different. He just scores so easily. Why couldn't he do that versus Brentford? He shot it with his left foot. Similar situation.
He's an average player, Egal, because he's an
No.
average player.
Wallahi, bro, he's not. If he was in
Wallahi,
Italy,
he's an average player.
if he was in Italy,
Don't tell me if he was in Italy. Don't.
Bro,
do
he
that,
would
don't
kill
say
it.
that.
Come on, bro. What are you talking about? You got
Don't say
39-year-olds
that.
in Italy running the league. What are we doing?
Don't say these things. Don't say that.
The Premier
Again,
League.
I'm gonna have the same conversation I had with
Premier
another
League does
Gooner.
not
I'm
allow-
gonna have the
the
same with the
Premier League
Gooner
is not-
yesterday.
The Premier League is
You are
faster pace.
sentimentally attached to your players. That is your problem.
Bro, I seen Henrik Mkhitaryan play your team and get you to Champions League final. When he was at Arsenal, he
That's
was considered
testament to
strong.
the team, though. That's not
No,
testament
he
to
was
Henrik
considered
Mkhitaryan, who
strong.
couldn't run. Coaching. Martinelli, Egal.
Okay,
If I tell you today,
let me
you're
bring
the
it back.
problem. Go
My
ahead.
main point is when he plays in the Champions League, when he plays in these cup competitions, he plays different. When he plays in the league, he doesn't have enough time to think. Sometimes he hesitates. Sometimes he makes mistakes. We need to see better from him overall in the league. But in the cup competitions, he's playing well. And then Eze getting 2 assists. The passing lanes were wide open today because Saka was playing in the 10. Another person they had to focus on. And I felt like it opened up the passing lanes for both sides. And Eze, that's a big confidence boost for him also. After having the poor performance he had where he had to get dragged off at half, for him to have that kind of performance, fair play to him. And then Norgard, Christian Norgard. Why does this guy not get more game time in the league? Every time I see him play, it seems like he gets a 7 or 8 out of 10 performance in these cup competitions, be it in the Champions League or in the League Cup or in the FA
Why
Cup.
do you need him to play if Zubamendi is
No,
doing
because
well?
I'm saying if we're winning a game in the league, I still see Declan Rice finish the game. I still see Zubamendi finish the game. If Norgaard's playing this consistently, he's 31 years old. He's an experienced player. He can come in and close out games for us. Maybe Arteta should look at that because today he subbed the goalkeeper, for God's sakes. You're telling me he can't sub on Norgard in a game when we're winning? And yeah, another thing that I want to talk about when it comes to Saka, he's played so many positions throughout his career. For him to play in the 10 today might be another thing where we might get to see him play in that position more often. With the injuries to Havertz, with the injuries to Moreno, you might see him with Odegaard getting injured. You might actually see Saka play centrally more because Nani Madueke is still getting goals back-to-back games. Martinelli's getting goals. Trossard's getting goals from the wing. Maybe we will see more central positions from Saka because I remember when Saka came through. I don't know if you remember this, Terry, but some people were calling for him to play in the 10 a couple of years back when he came through. Now we might have an opportunity to see him play more centrally. And he does have the capabilities defensively to get back. He has the capability to see a pass. I just need to see him get the ball in the back of the net more often. And the final thing, if there's anything that I'm going to draw on, when Gyökeres came on, I need to see him take these moments when we're playing against lesser opposition and just take it to them. He hit the post and it seemed like a couple times he was falling over. But yeah, that and it sucks. We always get injuries in these games, man. We win 4-0, but then we come out of it with 2 injuries with Ben White and Calafiori. Hopefully they're okay. But yeah, overall, I'm happy. And nobody's sitting here saying we're on for a quad, but it's good to be in 4 competitions this late into the season.
Well, it isn't. Look, Arsenal fans can feel how they want. But I did some research over the course of the last few days, just in build up to things. And now seems like the perfect time than any to bring this up. And no statistician has done this, and no TV company and no media TV company has, because they don't want to say anything that's perceived as potentially positive. But this is the first time in Arsenal's history you've ever been in the 5th round of the FA Cup, whilst being in the League Cup final, top of the league, and the favourites to win the Champions League. At no point in the history of your football club have you ever been in this position before, ever. So I'm not suggesting you're going to win all those trophies. I'm not stating that you should just celebrate a lot and have a parade now. What I am saying is, though, the crazy meltdowns at one little setback when at no point ever in your history have you been here. This right now, it's sort of the furthest you've ever been in all these competitions simultaneously before. I just think there needs to be an element of balance in terms of staying relaxed. And for me, I don't think you're going to win them all. The quad's never been done. The treble's been done twice in 100. Well, the Champions League's only been around for about 70, 80 years. It's only been done twice in that whole time. It's very hard to do. But the level of meltdown, like you alluded to earlier, is crazy. And as I say, never have you been in the League Cup final through to the 5th round of the FA Cup, top of the Premier League and favourites to win the Champions League. You are in such a brilliant position. My message to Gooners is, yes, criticise when it goes wrong. Yes, demand the best. But please enjoy it. Please enjoy it.
Terry, you're 100% spot on, because guys, we're not going to have many easy games like this for the remainder of the season. Today, I was seeing people saying this is so refreshing. Why can't we do this more often? You're not going to have many games like this in the league. Let's be honest. This is probably going to be one of our more easier games till the end of the season. So enjoy today and try to enjoy the good moments, because come the end of the season, if whatever we win, if you're sitting there and you're saying to yourself, why was I stressed all year? You're going to look back and say, you know what, maybe you should enjoy it more. And Terry, the reason why people are so negative whenever a drop point happens or something else is because of PTSD, and also because it almost gives them the green light to just say everything that they were thinking, but they never wanted to say out loud.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I think sometimes it's an element of they can't say what they don't like the manager or certain players, but they don't feel they can say it because you're in a good space, so they wait for that moment and an opportunity to lash out, as an example, which again, each to their own. Do what makes you feel best. I'm only giving you my views. Sir Alex versus Wenger losing value with Arteta's team. No, it's not. It doesn't lose. Do you know what's really funny, right? So for me, the only time it loses value is I saw something today. I'll give you an example. I saw Tony Cascarino, I'll be reacting to it tomorrow on the terrace, stating that Szoboszlai is playing at the same level that Steven Gerrard was. That, for me, diminishes the past, because I think it's such an exaggeration. You could argue Szoboszlai this season has been at a world-class level. World class is world class. I suppose there's levels to world class, but Gerrard was at that level for years and years. That's why I think it's disrespectful to mention him in that same breath. That's how you can do it. So I think any Arsenal fan who says this Arsenal team is light years ahead of anything Wenger ever built, then you can argue you're diminishing Wenger. And if you're diminishing Wenger, you are diminishing that rivalry to a lower level of praise, because you're saying that what's happening now is so superior. But I don't think this Arsenal team being good and winning major trophies diminishes that, because sometimes it's about when you show up. That Arsenal team that was winning doubles and went invincible could compete on all fronts now. The difference, the one thing that Arsenal and that Wenger team suffered with, and the English teams by and large suffered with, we didn't have the money of the Italians. We didn't have the money of the Spanish 20 plus years ago. You can imagine, Sir Alex still spent a fair amount of money. Only the 4th most in England. I know we're near what his European. Go and check what the Italian teams are spending in the 90s compared to the Premier League teams. We actually did it on a show recently. It was like double us every year, but like as a collective. Imagine what those managers in their peak could do with the money now in the Premier League. Be ridiculous. So I don't think it diminishes it at all, personally. If anything, it enhances it for me.
Let me go back to that Martinelli conversation with Mo. Mo, you're telling me if you had Martinelli at Inter right now, he wouldn't be getting double-digit goals in Seria A?
I don't know. I think I don't like Martinelli as a player. The last time I liked Martinelli as a player was the 22-23 season. I just don't like his decision making. I don't like how he plays the game. I don't think he's Arsenal's level now. He maybe was Arsenal level when you were 5th and you were trying to go to challenge for the league. I think you need better players. I think when I watch Martinelli play, I don't think he's a top player at all. I think he's just, Ram is saying he's a basic player, kicks the ball and run after it. I don't think he possesses any type of outstanding skill that is required to play for the top team. I think Madueke is even a better player than him. I think Saka is better than him. I think Trossard is better than him. I think he's at best a squad player for you. That's what I mean. I watch Martinelli and I don't know what Martinelli possesses that is exceptional. Here is the thing, Egal. The difference between me and you, Egal, is that when I look at Arsenal from outside,
you've said a lot. Can I respond before you talk about me personally?
No. I'm just going to say that it's related. I see Arsenal in a higher standard than anybody for me. Like you talk about, I think that Arsenal need to have the Rodrigo level, need to have the Olise level, need to have that Leroy Sané that played for City level. This is where I'm looking at this Arsenal team. So Martinelli for me is just a basic player.
Okay, I disagree on one sense. I think Martinelli has at times let us down with his passing, at times let us down with his shooting. But when he is playing in a transition team or a fast-paced team or a team that plays on the counter or a team that's very direct, he will get you goals in bunches. I think if you were to put him in a Bayern Munich team right now, he would get a ridiculous amount of goals. You put him in Dortmund, ridiculous amount of goals. You put him in a Seria A team that plays on the counter when the pace of the league is slower, he will exploit teams on the break and to get the ball under control at pace and shoot. He's one of the best at that. He might not, when he has to think and he has many people running around him and he's through on goal, sometimes he'll mess up. But I personally think he's a great player. And because Arsenal have had him and he at times has let us down, we're looking at him as a different player. I think you take him and you put him to replace him right now with Luis Diaz. I think he gets similar amount of output as Luis Diaz does at Bayern.
I don't care about Bayern Munich. We're talking about Arsenal. Okay. Why are we bringing up Bayern Munich and Serie A?
Because I'm telling you, because I'm telling you the pace. I'm
telling the guy, I'm analyzing Arsenal Football Club that plays in the Premier League.
The reason why
he's giving me Bayern. If you go to fucking La Liga, you'll be the best player in the history of the sport. We're talking about Arsenal.
The reason why I'm speaking about Martinelli in this light is because when he plays against competition that is not English, that is not in the Premier League, and he plays against European sides or he plays against teams in the cup competitions, he plays at a different level because those teams, they don't necessarily have the same level of physicality. Those teams don't necessarily have the same amount of pace and power to give him the problems that he has. When he has more time, he's constantly outperforming normal. Like right now, let me give you a perspective. 6 goals in the Champions League, 4 goals in the cups. That's 10 goals. The last Arsenal player to do that is Ian Wright.
So I look at it this way: where I agree somewhat with Egal is I think someone with the speed of Martinelli in Italy could be devastating. I think in Germany would be devastating because what you don't get there, and it may make the games more entertaining. Goldbridge speaks a lot about how he prefers watching German football because both teams just kind of go for it. The space he would have to run into, he could absolutely he'd eat it up. Where he struggles against the low block teams. The second half today, when Wigan went much more defensive, much further behind the ball, Martinelli was nowhere near as devastating as he was in the second half. But I also think what Martinelli has found at Arsenal, being a Premier League player, is I think he's found his level, and I think his level is being on the bench and coming on as an impact player, playing in the cup competitions that are generally. Those games are more open. Teams attack a little bit more. I think that's where Martinelli's at his absolute best as a player. Where then I agree with Mo, and I think you both got things that are right here from an Arsenal perspective, which Mo was talking about. I think you need to look to improve that left-hand side to that next level. So one, they're good on the transition, but two, they've got that ability to create and score up against those low blocks. I think two things can be right at the same time here in this conversation. Rams joined us too. Seems like Egal has triggered people in the Football Terrace group chat. Rams joined us.
I'm gonna have to go.
Cheers, sorry. Top man. Cheers.
No, it was a good conversation. I was actually listening to it. Obviously, I put my sixpence in the chat, but why can't we be honest and be like, Arsenal have outgrown Martinelli? Because everything that Egal said in transition, in all these kind of in all these ways of playing football, look, you're not gonna play against transition style teams for the majority of the Premier League season. Like, you're gonna be playing a lot of low blocks, and that's where the point comes into play. So Martinelli is a basic player when it comes to the absolute top level. And you bring up Bayern Munich, people have a go at Luis Diaz because he has the Martinelli in him where he's not as clinical. Yeah. But the issue is, Egal, you say about Martinelli being a great player. Like, it sounds as though you're content with him being in the team and you don't want to strengthen what you already have. Like, I don't understand where you're coming from.
That's two different topics. I was strictly speaking about the fact that Martinelli, the way that he performs in these cup competitions and in the Champions League, I could easily see him translating better in another league, in a more transition-based team. In our team, I don't think he's necessarily the best suited left wing option for us, because we do need somebody who has a better passing range. We do need somebody who's a little bit more clinical at times. But I do think if he was in a faster-based team that played more in transition and had better attacking players, you'd probably see him just strive in that role of just running and being on the counter constantly.
Cool, but that again, it goes back to the original point that Mo was talking about. We're talking about Arsenal. We're
No,
talking
but
about.
I'm speaking about Martinelli's skill set suiting another league rather than Arsenal. That's it. I'm not saying we shouldn't replace Martinelli or upgrade on Martinelli. That is two completely different conversations. The whole point about his performances in the cup competitions and in the Champions League, it shows that he probably would translate better to another league than he would the Premier League. Because in the Premier League, you're not getting those chances. If he was in the Portuguese league, we'd be raving about him being the next best Brazilian in the world.
Yeah, there is certainly some truth in that, but look, I think Martinelli might be on the chopping block for you guys come next year. But until that point, if he keeps scoring like this in cup competitions, it could be a very good evening for you guys from that front. If Arteta wins the treble, will he go above Wenger?
Yes, because he's done one thing that the club has never seen in entire life, with entire history since its inception, which is win the Champions League.
So what? When you say Wenger, see, this will upset a lot of Arsenal fans because I get that. But let's just have a wider scale conversation. If Arteta, we're only going by the super chat. If Arteta wins the treble this year,
he passes Klopp.
He passes nearly every single Premier League manager, barring Fergie and Pep. So he might. This is what people.
More than you could argue Mourinho as well. Yeah.
No, you can make that argument because I think the treble. And this is where, like, as much as people go, and this is the maddest bit. Do you know I'd love Michael Carrick to surpass Sir Alex. I'd love him to win 14 league titles, do 2 trebles, win 3 Champions Leagues. You know, for me, a reason I say that is there should be no Arsenal fan on earth, unless you're an Arteta outer, because you'd have to admit you were wrong, that shouldn't want him to surpass Wenger, because it means the club's winning more, if that makes sense. You should always want that. You know, I always find it, you know, the next midfielder Liverpool sign, you should all want him to do better for your club than Gerrard did, because that means your club's thriving. So that's always my view on it anyway.
I'll keep it very simple. Forget about the treble. I think if Arteta was to win the Champions League, he established himself as a club legend, as a manager, just from that alone.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, you would. It's only Wigan, but Saka in the 10 moved me. Play him there with Eze left wing and Noni right wing, and look it looked very dynamic. Needs a healthy Kai Havertz to work though. I definitely think a lot of the callers have said this today. This is to 20 that maybe that should be tried more regularly by Arteta. And I'm listen, as a spectator, it would be interesting to watch and see. Obviously, we didn't get to see him in the second half and what that was going to look like, maybe more up against a low block. That could have been quite interesting from him. I also felt a bit sorry for Saka as well, because people are really going in on his GA this year. And what I find really funny is you actually break him down as a defender, a winger. If you actually look at all the guys that are considered the best, the Yamals and the Elises, they're all in the pretty much the same percentiles as on everything. They're all in the top 96 to 99 percentiles on all the major attributes of a winger: dribbling, carrying, chance creation, progressive runs, etc. The only one that he's really low down the pecking order on this year is goals. Everything else is where it should be for Bukayo Saka. But even like he doesn't get the assist today because it's an own goal and not Jesus' goal. I swear I read that he's assisted 4 of her own goals this year, Saka, which is crazy because you don't get the assist for it. You do on fantasy football, though, people. So if you're a fantasy football player, don't take him out. But yeah, look, I think you guys might try that.
Put in Declan Rice. Declan Rice actually gets the GA now.
It does, yeah. It's kind of mad in that regard. It's funny that people pick and choose when to use certain stats.
Can I speak about Declan Rice quickly? Did you?
Yeah,
This is right up your alley, Terry. Declan Rice, since he's left West Ham to Arsenal, has become more marketable to the point where he's the head of Laurier shampoo. And it's really pissing people off because they're seeing Declan Rice pop up on adverts online and everything. Don't you think this is a thing that it annoys the smaller clubs like West Ham when they see their players leave their club and then become like household names at other clubs? Why do you think that is? Why does it annoy them so much?
Because it's that what I could have had moment, isn't it? I could have had this. Maradon's here. It says, here we go, Terry, with the stats deflection, like the Bruno and KD argument, shaking my head. But I'm not saying, again, but this is the difference. I'm not making a statement that Bukayo Saka's had an all-timer of a season. I do think his lack of goals is bad. I do think his lack of putting the ball into the back of the net this season should be criticised, and I've criticised it because it's an important component of his role. What I'm not going to do, though, is lie and pretend that he hasn't done lots of other things very well this year. And we'll be debating it next Friday on Straight Facts. And if anyone wants to come, they're going to have to come with facts, because I've just been going back through it's why I keep my notebooks. And I've gone back through all the Arsenal games, all the notes made about Saka, because I make notes about all players in the games. And we're going to reload these. People are going to look really, really silly if they don't come with some facts here. Equally with Bruno. Let me finish, please. Equally with Bruno Fernandes, I would defend him on the stat that looked bad, which was he gives the ball away so many times because of his chance creation. But you know, if his chance creation is high and his big chances created is high, but his assists are low, I defend Bruno Fernandes, because if strikers are missing those opportunities and chances, I'm not necessarily going to blame him. But if he was very low one season on chance creation, but he was scoring lots and his possession was very good and he was playing very well, I wouldn't just completely crush it on him because he's doing well in other areas. So there's no deflection. It's about talking about the facts of the matter. What I do think is deflection are there's people that have spent 3 or 4 years when Saka's GA was high saying, yeah, but what else does he do when he ain't getting goals and assists? This is a season that demonstrates that. One of the best dribblers in the world, and it's facts, he's in the 98th percentile on it. One of the best chance creators in the world, one of the best carriers and progressors of the ball in the world, and the facts are there to back it up. Your eye test may disagree. Your eye test can disagree all you want, but the facts are there. He is doing it. Could he do more in terms of putting the ball in the back of the net? Does he need to, in these last 10, 12 games of the season, be a match winner for Arsenal? Absolutely, he's got to try and become one. These last 10 games are the most important 10 to 12 games of the season. He scores 8 goals in the next 12 games and wins 5 matches. The whole complexity of his season changes. By the way, if he ghosts and has terrible games and doesn't score or assist, he'll be heavily criticized for it. We can have fair and honest conversations here, Married on the Moron. And that's hard for your little brain, but the rest of us can do it.
Terry, people are going to look at the stats from the game and they're going to say Saka, no goal, no assist, but they're not going to factor in the fact that he's created the what do you call it, the own goal. And this is not the only game he's done that. Fulham, similar situation. Wolves, similar situation. It's just these guys, especially Chelsea fans, they always said Hazard has performances where he doesn't get a goal, doesn't get an assist, but he's man of the match. Saka has those on a regular basis, but nobody talks about it.
Welcome to what it was like defending Florian Wirtz for the past 3 or 4 months.
Don't you dare do that. Florian Wirtz didn't show up for the first 6 months.
No, for the last 3 or 4 months when he played in really good performances and hadn't got the GA.
But this is what's interesting here, right? So Terry's Maradon says Terry Salah has been crap. I can say it. Terry, the Glazer donut. The difference is this: is Salah's performances haven't been great this year either. Plus, he is a goal scorer. That's his biggest and best attribute, and it's been off this year. If though he had been a constant threat in games, twining man up, put him on their bum. Equally, though, he's created a lot of chances this year that people should have scored, and I've praised him for that. To just say that he's done nothing, though, in games is wrong, but this has been a season where you have seen Mohamed Salah's levels diminish slightly right across the board. So there's no doubt about it. Yeah,
it's quite bad. It's quite bad. This season was quite bad.
It is quite bad. It is quite bad, actually, when you actually weigh it up and you look at it. But it's also measured in the statistics. So last year, let me give you an example. Last year, he was, and this is the difference, right, between Saka and between Mo Salah this year. So Maradon, you've hurt yourself here. Saka, chance creation is where it was last year. Last season, he was in the 98th percentile. This year, 95th percentile. But everything else has regressed this year. So crosses, as in accurate crosses, has gone from the 72nd percentile to 62nd. Assists has dropped. I'm not necessarily going to blame him for that because it's who you're passing to. The maddest bit is this season, he's actually crossing and passing to better strikers than last year. So it becomes a harder conversation. But that's gone from the 97th percentile to the 81st percentile. Goals, non-penalty goals, has gone from the 98th percentile to the 88th percentile. Non-penalty goals have gone from the 96th percentile to the 53rd percentile. Dribble completion has gone from the 64th percentile to the 50th, and ball progression has gone from the 80th percentile, so in the top 80% of all players at carrying the ball and progressing the ball, to the 56th percentile. Okay, then when you compare that to Bukayo Saka this year, just for contrast, Saka this season, okay, 88th percentile for carries, 98th percentile for dribbles completion. He's low on the goals, which we mentioned, the non-penalty goals at 49 percentile. Okay, but assists is on the 78th percentile. But we know that they've had a problem with some of those goals, but that's got to improve. Key passes, though, so the actual chance creation, 98th percentile. Cross completion, 94th percentile in the league. If you compare that to Saka last season, okay, I think this is really, really relative, okay? Last season, he's progressing of the ball was in the 80th percentile, so he's gone up this year. His dribble completion was in the 92nd percentile, so he's gone up this year. His assists last year were in the 100th percentile. He was in the best group. That has gone down. That's an area for him, but that's more the other people. His chance creation, though, this is why I don't blame him for the assists, has gone from the 94th percentile to the 98th percentile. His crossing accuracy just dropped by 2% this year. Okay, but we know the goals have dropped from the 68th percentile to the 49th percentile. So no one's saying Saka's perfect. The difference, so in your comparison, Maradon, is Mo Salah, barring key passes, has gone backwards in every single main area for a winger, where Saka's actually improved in 2 or 3 of his. And to deny that is agenda-based. And all the agenda for the Saka pushing is based on is that he hasn't scored enough goals. But every other area, not every area, that's a lie. A vast majority of those areas have improved this year, but nobody wants to talk about it because they just want to shit on him. He's been loads of games where he hasn't got the goal and the assist, and he's been criticised, but he hasn't had a stinker of a game. Anyone saying otherwise, I think, has been a very, very disingenuous.
You need to cook Staffy on Next Straight Facts or bring him on with us on Tuesday because he's one of the guys who's been saying this.
Yeah, we might be able to do it next Friday. We could definitely look at that. Rice can't be a great central midfielder without taking the risk of trying to passes that break down defenses. When has Rice ever passed the ball and you've said, wow, how did he find that pass?
What are we talking about? I swear I seen earlier this season. I think it was in the Champions League versus Slavia Prague or something like that. I forget exactly who, but there's been many chances this season where under pressure you see him turn and find line breaking passes. I just sometimes think people just have agendas against Declan Rice because he's not one of those guys who does it on a regular basis.
Yeah, no, you are right.
But that's what he's talking about. I think he's saying Rice is a very, very good centre midfielder, but the one thing that's like holding him back from being arguably the best central midfielder in the world is that he's not taking the risks. Because I had the same thing with Szoboszlai when he was playing as an attacker mid. It's like, where is the risk taking? Why are you not doing any risk taking in the ball? You have the technical ability, but you're seeing it this season. So
it's
they're not even talking about risk though.
It's a risk. So I was just looking at while you guys were talking. So Declan Rice sits in the 86th percentile for progressive passes. So again, I agree with you, Egal. The idea that he doesn't break lines or doesn't attempt these passes and doesn't progress the ball through passing is a lie. My eye test sees it and the facts back up what I see. However, it's going to that next level. So, for instance, Vitinha sits in the 98th percentile. Bruno sits in the 95th percentile. And the irony is those two get criticized a bit more for losing the ball, but in the losing of the ball, they progress it more. And it's about the balance in the team being right. And I do think that whether it's Declan Rice doing it or it's bringing somebody else in that does, that's probably one area for Arsenal to look at this summer and go, with the likes of Rice and Zubimendi and Norgard behind them, can they find someone who does want to take a bit more of a risk on that ball that might create those extra chances and goals? That being said, Odegaard is in the 94th percentile for progressing the ball through the line.
If I was gonna be devil's advocate, maybe that might not be his role. Maybe that was meant to be the role of an Odegaard, or when Eze was to come in, was to
I agree.
Do the more risk-taking pass, and Rice was meant to be more of the steady Eddie on the ball, like he'd given the ball to the creative players.
I feel like we also forget that he drives with the ball better than most midfielders. As much as we might criticize his attacking, his attacking prowess, his dribbling and driving forward is unbelievable.
He's progressive carries in the top 95% of all players in the world. There's only like 5% of all midfielders that pick in the top leagues and around the world that pick the ball up and progress it as far, as regularly and as successfully as Declan Rice. So that is a great area. This is why Vitinha is so good, though, because Vitinha is also in the top 99 percentile of that. Like Vitinha is just...
Vitinha is your new Verratti, yeah? I remember you used to love Verratti. Now you love Vitinha the same way.
Yeah, no, I do like him, but then it goes the other way though, because when it comes to like winning the possession and winning possession back, that's where Vitinha drops into the bottom 14% in the whole world. And this is why though I feel it's about people being honest about certain statistics as well, or certain. So Bruno has this happen to him, loses the ball loads, but they ignore the fact that allows him to be in the top percentile in the world for creating chances, breaking lines, progressing the ball. But it comes at a cost. Very few players, when you actually break down their game, are perfect. I don't think you can be perfect at progressing and or carrying the ball and creating a high volume of goal scoring chances whilst never losing the ball. I just don't see that as being possible over a full season. I think you're in cloud cuckoo land if you think that can happen. And it's almost like sometimes we do this as fans. We go, I want my player to be perfect in all the stats, and then he's the best ever. Well, it's never going to happen because no player's ever. I don't think there's been any player like that. You can always find a stat that isn't good for them, but that's just my view. Look, boys, thank you for coming on. I've enjoyed the chat. It's been really, really good and productive. I want to thank the viewers, especially the people that I disagree with, and I say that because we need that light and shade. We really, really do. And as much as I give you guys some crap and you give me crap, I'm glad you're here. So everyone who's liked, shared, subscribed, super chatted tonight, thank you. This is going to redirect you across to the boys as they go live this evening on MHF. So go and support them over there. I'm back tomorrow with Straight Facts in the morning. We've got the top 6 show tomorrow as we build up to midweek Premier League games and the Champions League playoff matches as well. But until next time, take care, goodbye, God bless, and we'll see you all again very, very soon. Peace.